Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Brewer to throw for it. Got a man in the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Denzel Mims for the score, beating Anthony Johnson.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Playing at the goal line. Brewer keeps it again. Touchdown, Baylor.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Brady will slip it to the outside, and it's picked off again. This is Smith and Aldon Smith with the deflection.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Good afternoon on this Thursday, May 21st, 7th week. Wrapping up the next couple of days, our 7th week of SicEm365 Radio. Chuck Reedy, former Baylor head football coach, who was on the staff when Larry Fedora was looking for a job. He had been a part of the Grant Tapp staff for a couple of years, but really was not a full-time coach. Got some stories about and Larry Fedora today. Max Olson, theathletic.com at 4. Ryan Ivey, athletic director at Stephen F. Austin at 4:15. Mickey at 4:35 on the Cowboys. And then E. Gordon Gee will be joining us today at 5 o'clock, the president at West Virginia. So there's stories out there about how much the NFL would lose, how much college football would lose. Isn't it amazing how when you start to look at the numbers, how things start to develop to getting back?
It's not surprising to me. I think this was a point in time we were going to reach eventually. But I think that maybe some of the good news out there in regards to the virus, that it's not spreading the way that we feared that it could, that not as many people are getting infected or passing from said virus. Now, it's still a threat. There's still, reasons to be concerned and to not be, stupid about the way you're going about living your life and being mindful of others. But I think we see now we've had 8 weeks of time to kind of see this virus hang around, and we've seen the numbers, and the numbers tell us that, hey, if you've got an underlying condition, then yes, you do need to be worried. If you're just your average person, you need to be worried to an extent, but it does seem to be affecting those of an older age or with underlying health conditions, and so we've learned more, and I think we're just more educated, and I think, you start to see $4 billion could be out of your purse strings, and you're going to start to find ways to make something happen.
There is a chance, and I forgot exactly. We want to get into Dak Prescott because there's a report. Chris Sims made a comment today about Dak that's going to get traction because it's the Cowboys. Well, and yet what the story was it. Of course he turned down an X amount of money because the Cowboys have actually offered him more. Go ahead.
We talked about this yesterday with John Machota.
Yeah.
We went over this, and, he said that there was some accuracy to that report, but I know that the story today is of that.
So, Paul Catalina, Dak's going to get his money. The Cowboys are going to pay him his money. Do you think there's anybody in the Cowboys hierarchy that doesn't want him as their quarterback?
Not a person. All of them want him. Everybody wants him. Everybody wants him. Everybody thinks he's going to be the quarterback. This is one of those things that happens in these situations with the Cowboys wants to put some sauce in it, like there's going to be a holdout like Zeke or whatever in there. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do think that there's going to be, there's going to be a deal and it's going to get done.
Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, Dylan Chapman here. David Smoke, SicEm365 Radio.
I think the Dak story is the dumbest story that gets talked about the most, honestly, as far as the national perspective of them kind of like ruffling the feathers every chance they get of these negotiations to make it look like, oh, Dak's holding out, or Dak wants this, or the Cowboys aren't going to pay him, or what if the Cowboys trade him? And, I just don't remember any other free agent quarterback going through free agency that had this many twists and turns without anything really even happening. because it's Dak and because it's the Cowboys, and I understand that, but he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid by the Cowboys. He's going to sign a contract with the Cowboys. He's going to be the Cowboys starting quarterback for many years moving forward, and that's the bottom line. The story will be if that somehow or another doesn't happen, but the chance of that not happening is less than 1%. So I just feel like there's so much talk going on about something that I don't think it really has that much to it.
Well, here's some bullet points. Mike Fisher kind of put all things in perspective. That those who have opinions are paid to have opinions. We are paid to all also have opinions, but also to help people, hopefully enjoy whenever you listen to us, whether it's for 5 minutes or for minutes or for 3 hours, or when you listen to the replays of the various segments that we have all the time on the app brought to you by Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, or when they put them up on SicEm365.com. So he's been offered reportedly 5 years for $175 million, right? That's not new. Why would he turn that down, Paul? You give a short-term version, because I want to get into this. 254-339-1122, by the way, is the number to call. And also, that's the Riverbend Liquor and Wine hotline. Why all of a sudden I feel like it's hollow?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to work through a little issue here with connecting to the app. So we're still on Facebook and everything else. So I'm just having to deal with one little issue here. So
the reason he doesn't want anything more than that, doesn't want to go past 4 years, is because at the end of 2022, that's the year that the existing contract, right, is up, and the salary cap, of course, will skyrocket. Him asking for anything more than 35 or 36 or 37 million, that's part of negotiations. Him saying no to 35 is part of the negotiations. Him also wanting more for the 4 year is smart because of the fact there might be a new collective bargaining agreement. In the end, he's not going to walk away. They're not going to let him walk away. He's stuck in Dallas, and they don't mind that because they also want him to be their quarterback. So all this is but this would be the case, Craig and Paul, even if there was a lot going on, if there were mini camps, because they can say Cowboys and everybody bites.
People bite, but I don't. I think I just think it's the biggest non-story story out there because, yes, the negotiations with the Cowboys, a franchise of their magnitude, and their starting quarterback who's of a young age and who has proven to be a Pro Bowl-type player, is of interest. It would be of far more interest to me if I thought there was the slightest chance that he could go somewhere else, but I don't believe that for 1 second. Looking anywhere else that the signing of Dalton means anything other than, hey, they got a really good backup that if Dak goes down, they've got somebody to replace him. But, all this stuff we've seen all offseason, and it's fine right now compared to a couple of weeks ago when people were really reaching to try to talk about some things because they truly had nothing to talk about. Now there's at least some sports returning, but I just think this is the national media playing the Cowboys card because it's the easy thing to do when in reality there's a lot less drama than what you would think given the amount of discussion about it. It's, negotiations. Dak wants one thing, they may want another, and they're having to talk their way through it, but I don't think that just because you're having to talk through negotiations that in any way indicates an issue, a hang-up, or something that's going to get in the way of you getting the ultimate goal done.
254-339-1122, SicEm365 Radio. Today, our first guest, 3:30, Chuck Reedy, former Baylor head football coach, longtime assistant coach under Grant Taft. He then went and started coaching high school football in South Carolina, won multiple state championships. He'll join us today at 3:30. And one of the reasons, just check in with Chuck Reedy, but also his thoughts about Larry Fedora back in the 90s. And then I also had a chance to get some good feedback from Fedora about what Chuck meant to his career. Also, Max discussed quite a bit college football as these timelines and the opportunities of strength and conditioning or conditioning, whatever, that might start to open up in June. Mickey at 4:30, and between that, SFA's Ryan Ivey. He's the AD of Stephen F. Austin. That's my alma mater. We discussed this yesterday. They got hit badly by the NCAA, and they earned it Maybe not the ones who are there now, but it's part of the deal. And he will join us today at 15. And then and some of those who were a part of academics, admissions, whatever, or even compliance, I'm not sure what they were doing. But everyone wants to point the finger at somebody else. We'll have him on today at 4:15, and then the West Virginia president today at 5 o'clock. All right? What do you want to do here, Paul? Take a break?
No, not yet. Just let's keep talking for about 5-6 minutes. And then
there's a story about the athletic department programs in college. If the financial wreckage due to Corona, there's the $4 billion loss if the 2020 football season is canceled because of television. But now I'm starting to realize 65 Power 5 schools would lose $4 billion in football revenues. At least $1.2 billion of that to ticket revenue. Also, each of the Power 5 schools would see a loss of $62 million, and including at least 18.6 of that in football ticket sales. Sometimes we look at the TV money, we forget. Now, we discussed this yesterday, the ticket money for the NFL. That's a cash cow. 100,000 seat stadiums, or even if you're Baylor in the mid 40s, and it will be, even if coaches take cutbacks, whatever, there are going to be programs, and we've already seen this, like Bowling Green baseball. There are going to be programs that just evaporate.
Well, I mean, here's a list. Bowling Green baseball, Central Michigan track and field for the men, Akron men's cross country, men's golf, women's tennis, Cincinnati men's soccer, Old Dominion wrestling. So, yeah, there's already multiple programs who have cut individual sports. I think that some saw the opportunity to go ahead and get rid of some that maybe were costing them money and that they just didn't care for that much anyway. So, hey, now Corona's in play. Let's go ahead and cut bait while we can. I think in some cases it may be a situation where, they have no choice. But, I mean, yeah, not having fans in the stands paying $40, $50, $100 a game for themselves, and then maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 others, that's going to cost you. I mean, how much did we discuss tailgating and the new tailgating setup Baylor is going to have, where if you deposit $1,500 or whatever it is, you get your own tent that's provided and all this stuff, that's all off the table. That's all gone. So think of the thousands of dollars of people who signed up for those tailgate packages. That's now completely wiped out. Odds are we're not tailgating. So there's no need for tailgate guys this year. Now maybe at some point a place where, 20,000 people are allowed in, but that's still, for Baylor, 30,000 less than you normally would have. For Texas, if you're allowing 80,000 people who would have been buying tickets that are buying tickets. So let's just say that a ticket costs $1, which we know that it does not. It's costing 20, 50, 100 higher. Times that by 80,000 for one single game. Now do that, 5 more times. And that's what Texas is losing out on. And that's just like the tickets, concessions. That's not the businesses outside of the stadium that may benefit from pre-gaming and stuff like that. So, it makes sense that the number's $4 billion, because this is one of the only sports that makes them any money. All the rest of them, they might be gaining money by not playing. So football is the cash cow. There's no question about that, and that's why you're seeing this press to try and get this sport back here in a short amount of time, but being mindful at the same time so that we're not talking about colleges cutting far more programs because all of a sudden $4 billion is missing.
Yeah, the TV money, the money, and then what else comes? It could be an apps. But it's not going to be. They're going to figure it out. They have to. It's not. They have to.
Well, this is the same thing as Dak. It's like
exactly.
There's no other alternative. Yes, I guess there is an alternative for both stories. The Cowboys could not. There's a less than 1% chance of that. We could not have college football. I think the percentage of not having it is higher than less than 1%, but I wouldn't put it too high because I hear the desperation in Mac Rhodes' voice every week. When you even hear his voice contemplating the thought of not having football money coming in and what kind of an effect that would have. I would imagine every athletic director has to think about it, but most are not wanting to think about it because it's probably hard thing to have to sort through. And I think we can sense that we talk to Mac and all of the different questions that they're having to pose to themselves and think of in advance. So either way, programs are losing money this year. I mean, that's unless you somehow find a vaccine in the next, which isn't going to happen, or the next 2 months, which probably isn't going to happen, then you are looking at some type of elimination of fans in the stands. To what extent, if it's everybody or if it's 20,000 and below, we don't know all that yet. We still have to sort through all of that. But either way, of whatever it is, every school's still going to be losing money on home games this year. So, you got to get what you can. And if you can at least get teams out there and playing, that's better and getting that TV money than the alternative of having nothing and then really being in trouble.
Okay, so where are we, man?
Well, we have a problem with our server that feeds the app right now, but we are still on the other platforms. We're still on the website. We're still on Facebook and all that stuff. So if you want to listen, you have to go there. But right now, the server that feeds the app is not letting us connect. So it's a problem with them, and we're working on it. So
a break.
Right.
SicEm365.
The return of 0%. It's back. 0% for 72 and no payments for up to 120 days. Choose your car, truck, or SUV and get 0% financing with no payments for 120 days through Chrysler Capital. New Rams, new Jeeps, and new Dodge SUV vans. Shop safely at our shop and buy online, and we deliver test drives to you. Your friend in the car business. Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Let Camille Johnson guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Woodway, or find them online at www.CamilleJohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, SIPC. Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of health has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less, sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
Hi, this is Gerald High School football coach Amos Davidson, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Hewitt GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
We'll have Chuck Reedy, former Baylor football coach, in about 10 minutes. Craig and Paul, David Smoke, Dylan Chapman. Here's an interesting story. The Mike Trout baseball card. Craig, you showed me this. The 2009 Bowman Chrome draft picks. Prospects Mike Trout, red refractor autograph, graded 9.5 out of 10, sold for a realized price of $922,500. That is nearly $1 million for a baseball card made 11 years ago. The hammer price, that with the buyer's premium, totaling $922,500. The sale price puts Trout in elite company. Honus Wagner, the T206, the holy grail of the hobby, $3.12 million. The Topps 1952 Mickey Mantle graded $2.8 million. The 1952 Topps Mantle, $1.14 million. This is Mike Trout in the same neighborhood as Honus Wagner and Mickey Mantle when it comes to baseball cards.
Well, I mean, he's in the conversation with him as far as baseball goes, when you think about it. So, he's been able to – I guess Woodrow's fired up today. Trout's been able to, have a great career for himself already, really carve out in the game now for quite some time, and no surprise that his cards would also be of some value. I have not collected baseball cards in a really long time, but I know that there is still a following. It's not as big as it once was, but there is still a following for cards, especially the ones that have the autographs or the jersey patches or whatever. There's still some in it. Clearly, if you've got that Mike Trout card, then you're living life pretty well right now. There's no doubt about that.
Now, here's a note about the Mike, why this also, not just Mike Trout, but this particular card is what they call a 5-5. In other words, and there might be lingo that I'm not quite using. Dylan, are you a baseball card collector? The 5-5, there were 5 exact copies of the red refractor autograph made through Trout's autograph. Might also, so there's 5 of these. There's not like 190 of them or 2,000 of them or 20,000 of them. There's 5 that were like this, exact copies of the red refractor autograph with Mike Trout's autograph attached to it. So the last time I bought baseball cards might have been when we were in California like 7, 8, 10 years ago when we stopped at a convenience store, or maybe it was a Walmart, and I just picked a couple of packs of baseball cards up and just started looking at them. I have a 1980 something, 86 or 87 box, the entire collection of, I think, Topps 1986 or 87, and they have been in a closet sitting there, and I've never touched them. And I think, it's with my luck, it's not like a Barry Bonds rookie card or something like that.
Well, I mean, even those, like, baseball card collecting, like I said, if, you can have the rookie card, but honestly, these days, the only money that you're making off of cards, best I can tell, is off those specialty cards, like the autographed versions, the jersey pieces put on the card, that kind of a thing. I don't know how much just the regular baseball card, the regular rookie card that's just part of the regular set and not something fancy. I don't know how much that's even really worth these days. I saw at one point I had a full top set, and it was for like a couple $100. And you would think, like, in the 80s, you'd have Don Mattingly and, all these different players. So I remember Don Mattingly had a rookie card that was very popular and was worth a lot, but I don't remember what series it was. Regardless, you had players like that, but that whole set from like number 1 all the way through the very end is only worth a couple $100. Mm-hmm. And that's from the 80s. So that kind of tells you where the card market has gone, unless you have, one of, something like this Mike Trout card that's 1 of 5 or, some other special edition.
Yeah, I looked up, like, for example, the 10 most valuable Barry Bonds rookie cards. And the 1987 Donruss is worth $3,000. The 1980, there's even cards I don't even know what. The Topps 86 traded Tiffany is worth $1,250. So, and I think I have, like, the 87 Topps. I don't know which one it is, but it's it'll sit there, and maybe one of these days when grandkids or whoever they will be cleaning out the closet or the attic will run into this and they'll be millionaires. I don't know. That's how sometimes it happens. You go through an old attic, boxes, whatever. And So that's how you find, oh my God, here's a Mickey Mantle rookie card that maybe 2 generations ago or 3 families ago, or just someone left in the attic and you just happen to get lucky. Would be great if you were at a garage sale and people just have them out and you just happen to look at one and you're having a garage sale, they're going to send it for like $2 and it might be one that's worth thousands.
That's why you should check what you have online before having a garage sale, because I'm sure that's happened where somebody sold something not realizing its actual worth, and somebody, knowing its worth, was able to get a great deal, or maybe not knowing themselves, just happened to buy a $2 card at a garage sale only to find out it's worth like $500. But I haven't followed the card game for a while. I've occasionally bought a pack here and there, just for old time's sake, I guess, and just to see what the cards are like these days. I mean, they're not all that different. They're just better graphics. But that was something I really enjoyed growing up, and I don't know how much of a hobby it really is these days, just because it seems like, anything physical in your hands isn't really as popular anymore. So I know a lot of, younger kids, they have cards, but they're virtual. They're cards on their laptop or on their phone, like the Pokemon games and things like that. So they don't even have the full physical paper cards necessarily anymore. So much different world, but those were great memories collecting cards growing up.
That's $900,000. $900,000 for Mike Trout. This is from Too Tall. By the way, I stepped away, been back a few minutes. It's only sputtered once as far as the signal, the show, whatever we're doing online, and, of course, trying to figure out the issue with the app as well. We're going to take a break here and come back with former Baylor head football coach Chuck Reedy. It'll be fun. He was the head coach. He was on Grant Taft's staff, became the head coach when Taft became AD and retired from that. And then there was this young kid named Larry Fedora, and I've got a story or two about what Chuck Reedy told him. He was looking for a job, and what he said, this is what we want you to do. From Larry Fedora on Chuck Reedy and vice versa. Larry Fedora, now Baylor's offensive coordinator. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
It's been tough. Sitting in isolation, rarely getting out, neglected, unimportant, naked. Hi, this is Jay from Pickup Outfitters, and I'm talking about the forgotten casualty in this mess, your truck. It's been waiting patiently for you during this crisis, waiting for some sign that it's okay to get out again. At Pickup Outfitters, we believe that no truck should be left behind, and that it's time to reward your truck for sticking with you during these difficult times. So we're announcing the End Truck Nudity Stimulus Package. Benefits designed to outfit so that it's ready to get out in public again, like free installation and a free rubber bed mat with every hard bed cover purchase, $250 off ranch hand bumpers installed, $300 off ARE camper shells, free laser fit front floor liners with every ranch hand grill guard purchase and install. And there's more. Call or come by our Pickup Outfitters showroom and help us make your truck feel wanted again. Or check out our End Truck Nudity Stimulus Package on our website, createacommotion.com/stimulus.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Live crawfish is back. The 30-pound bags of live crawfish, as delicious as you can imagine, back at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. $3 a pound, 30-pound live crawfish bags are available. You order by Thursday at noon. You can pick up your customized order anytime on Friday afternoon until 6 p.m. And the drive-thru now open at Waco Custom Marketplace Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can still order what you want from their butcher shop, including beef and poultry, seafood, and also pork. And, of course, their bakery. You can order from their bakery. You can go online, WacoCustomMarketplace.com, or go by the drive-thru. Waco Custom Marketplace, live crawfish available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6. Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
David Smoke, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, Dylan Chapman runs as well, part of this mothership as we come to you live on SicEm365 Radio. He was the head football coach at Baylor from 1993 to 1996. Also, prior to that, the assistant coach under Grant Teaff. Chuck Reedy, former Baylor head coach, joins us and also was the head coach, won a state championship at Goose Creek in South Carolina, been at Clemson in South Carolina, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. We reached out to you, Chuck. Thanks for being a part of the show. Are you missing golf during this time? Are you back on the course? How are you handling these last couple of months?
Well, we're doing well. We're not really quarantined. I mean, we've been able to get out and get around and what have you. And we've opened a hamburger restaurant here a couple of years ago, and so I spend a little bit of time over there. And actually, we're getting ready to open another one here in a month or so. So, I've stayed busy with all of that, but everything's good. We're enjoying semi-retirement, I guess.
So I was told by a birdie that you took him, a former coach of yours, who's now back at Baylor, up to the mountains, and maybe there was a hamburger restaurant you had opened up as there as well. So what's the go-to? Is that just kind of like your getaway place?
Well, we have a place in the mountains up at Sugar Mountain, which is close to Boone. And Boone is where the Comeback Shack, that's the name of the restaurant. That's where the original one is located. That concept was opened in 2012. We met the people that developed that, and we just partnered with them here in Charleston. And we'll have 3 open by the end of this year, hopefully, and see where it goes. But yeah, and Larry, of course, Larry and his family were spending some time up there, so we were able to spend some time with them, and actually had lunch at Comeback Shack, and it was good. Always good to spend time with Larry and his family.
You were here when he was, and so you brought him on as a graduate assistant. What did you see in him early on as a football mind?
Yeah, when I got to Baylor in 1990 as the offensive coordinator, Larry had just come on board as a graduate assistant, and Larry was obviously very bright, very motivated. He was a guy that you knew was going to do well and was going to go far in the college coaching, because he always wanted more responsibility, always wanted, to learn this and learn that. And so, even as a graduate assistant, I gave him a lot of responsibility the first, the 3 years that I was the offense coordinator. And, he was actually treated and worked just like one of the regular full-time coaches.
Coach, when you come across a young coach like that, what are some of the initial things that stand out to you that maybe give you an indication that this person might be on a different trajectory or might have a bright future in the profession?
Yeah, Larry, some guys that are goal oriented and they're motivated. They want to be a head coach, and you can pick those guys out. I mean, they're it's obvious. They're that's where they're going, and that's their goal. Now, not all of them make it because it's very, very hard to get to become a Division I head football coach. There's not a lot of them out there, and but certainly Larry, early on it was obvious that he was a guy that was on that track, and and he's every step of the way. He has grown as a coach. I'm referring to when he was at Baylor, and then even after he left Baylor and was at Air Force and Middle Tennessee and Florida and so on. I mean, he was on that track, and but again, going back, the main thing that struck me early on was just he wanted responsibility, and he would come to my office and say, Coach, how about, can I do this? Can I do that? The guys that don't do that, the ones that aren't really motivated, they're just happy, doing their job. But there are guys like Larry that, are always looking to do more.
Can you confirm or deny that when you took the head coaching job, you hired 8 assistants? Of course, you could have 9 then. Now there's 10. And you had $30,000 left in a pool, and you couldn't find anybody else, and you went to him and said, you need to go on the road and recruit. If you can go and recruit and find somebody, you get the job?
Well, I don't know if it's exactly right, and it was only $28,000. But no, I mean, when I got the job, I had people that I had had experience with, at Clemson, and there were people that I wanted to hire, but it just so happened that the same year that I got the job at Clemson, Danny Ford got the job at Arkansas, and a lot of the guys that I wanted to hire, Danny had a lot more money at Arkansas than I did at Baylor at the time. And, so, I wasn't able to hire all the guys that I wanted, but, I knew Larry, he was a guy that, I was very comfortable with, and certainly, there were 2 guys, he and Chris Lancaster, who, who I had also had been a graduate assistant for us. They were 2 young guys that I really liked, and both of them, made less than $30,000, that first year. Our pool, wasn't. They're paying one guy now more than what we had to pay 9.
I know.
That's,
yeah.
Of course, it's a whole different world, and I think our coordinators made $70,000. So and I think our total pool was around 40 or 4,000, maybe less than that. But no, I did. I heard so I had enough money to give Larry and Chris. Both of them, I think, 28,000. But they'd have done it for 15,000. I mean, it was an opportunity to be a full-time college assistant, and that's what they both wanted, and certainly. Larry started off coaching the receivers, which is, what he had played in college. And, but then after a couple of years, we had an opening, running back opening, and just, he came to me, wanted to be coach running backs, and, just so that he could work with another position group, and, and did a great job in every area, and did a great job recruiting as well.
He told me to tell you this. I spoke to him earlier today. I cannot give Chuck Reedy I can never give him enough credit for who he made me, who I am today as a football coach. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, that's very, very kind of him. He had an opportunity to work with a lot of really, really good football coaches. And, if in some way I, had a positive impact on Larry, then that's very rewarding. He's made himself what he is, through hard work and working around a lot of great coaches.
We're talking to Chuck Reedy, former Baylor head football coach, also was on our national championship staff with Daddy Ford, as he mentioned, the team that beat Nebraska in the Orange Bowl, and then lately has been at Goose Creek, but retired in the last 5 or 6 years.
Coach, you also have young Mike Gundy at Baylor. I just wondered, did you have any thought in your mind that at some point, a few years later, he'd be not only a longtime head coach in the Big 12, but rocking the mullet and being one of the crazier personalities in college football?
No, I mean, Gundy was, he was a little more settled when I hired him. He'd kind of gone through a tough time, under with Bob Simmons there at Oklahoma State. It had been a good experience for him, I don't think. And he was looking to make a move, and we were. I had made a change. I had to make a change as offensive coordinator, and so Mike was available, and actually Larry and he had become friends, I think, in recruiting, and had run across each other. And Larry's, one that recommended him to me, and we were, really obviously fortunate to have Mike for 1 year. I had, he was another one. I mean, Mike had, he had great pedigree as far as a coach go. Was a great player, and you knew he was going to do well. Did we know he's going to do, as well as he has done? Probably, that's hard to say, but he's, done a phenomenal job at Oklahoma State, and I don't know, he didn't have all that mullet and all that stuff back and come out with some of these crazy comments that he does from time to time. But, that's Mike, and, he's, when you win as much as he's won, you can get away with a lot of that stuff.
I heard that, you mentioned this, what you're doing with these restaurants, but this was not your first dipping into cooking. Can you explain how good those barbecue parties were after National Signing Day?
Yeah, we had I think my wife and I, we had a place up on Lake Whitney, and so we would always, just the coaches would go up, after recruiting and after signing day, you needed a little break or whatever, and we didn't have the money in our budget to go anywhere. So we'd go up to the lake and stay for 2 or 3 days and grill and just to get away and have a good time. And, those were fun times. Really good. One thing we did, we recruited pretty well. I mean, we didn't have an opportunity for it to translate, to what we would have liked it to be. But, we had some great recruiter. Andy McCollum was an excellent recruiter. Robert James, Ron West. And we had some guys on our staff that really did a really good job recruiting.
Matt in D.C. on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine Hotline. By the way, Baylor would not have gone through those bad, horrible years from 97 to 2008 had we kept Chuck and his staff.
Well, I'd like to think that, but and of course it's all history. We had a new president, new athletic director, and of course, we went into the Big 12 my 4th year, and I told Robert Sloan and Tom Stanton, going in, I said, what we need in the program is stability, and because they redid my contract after my 3rd year, 7-4, And, I told them then, I said, what I need is time on my contract because we're going to 12. This is a whole new ball game, the worst thing y'all can do is not have stability in the program going into this new conference. And that's exactly what happened. And then that's why they, 2 years after they fired me, 2 years later, they fired Dave Roberts. I mean, and, it went like that until they got, of course, a new athletic director and he brought in Art. The rest is history. I mean, Art obviously is the one that, turned that whole thing around.
Coach, do you have any, knowledge or familiarity at all with Dave Aranda?
No, I don't. No more than what I've read. I mean, it seems like, obviously the guy's been very, very successful everywhere he's been. And, it seems like, from everything I've read, seems to be a good fit for Baylor. And Baylor, and to the credit of Baylor and Baylor, I should say, they've got their facilities now. I mean, we always needed an on-campus stadium, but that was a pipe dream
right.
When Coach, when we were there. I mean, that wasn't even, you couldn't even envision it. But, Baylor now, maybe, certainly it's one of the top jobs in the Big 12, in my opinion. You got great facilities, great school, academic reputation, the Christian environment I always thought was a tremendous plus for you. And you're located in the middle of the state of Texas where there's more great high school players than anywhere in the country. So, it's all right there. I mean, and I see, certainly see no reason they can't continue the success that, that they've had.
I had a coach who we've been discussing a little bit with you with Chuck Reedy today. So if he hires, when he's been on a staff where he was hiring others, or if he hires an offensive line coach, he says, I was the best damn offensive line coach there's ever been in college football. If he hires a linebackers coach, he'll say, I was the best damn linebackers coach that ever was in college football. And he said that when you hired him and he was a running backs coach, that's something you told him because you were, and that's where he's learned that from.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was pretty good at that now. Of course, I was coaching at Clemson. I mean, and every single guy that I coached at Clemson played in the NFL in over a 12-year period. I mean, so we had good players. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much I had to do with it, but I coached some really good players. Let me say that. And anyway, I don't know. I don't know about all that, but like I said, I was very fortunate to coach good players.
What is it like to be able to win as a coach, no matter what position it was, positional, head coach, whatever, to be a part of a national championship?
It's one of those things that you think about, you dream about, but the reality of it, it's so hard to attain that, you don't really, to really think you can do it or gonna do it is probably, a little far-fetched. And, at Clemson, we started off the season, we weren't even ranked. And then we got better and better and won and kept winning. And went into the Orange Bowl, even though we were number one, we were the underdog. And after the game, I mean, it was almost surreal. I mean, you're like, did this happen? I mean, did we just beat Nebraska and win the national championship? I mean, it's just something that's, you strive for it, but it's really hard to realize when when you attain it. You kind of, have to, look at it and just appreciate it because, like I said, they're hard to come by. Not many coaches have that, have the opportunity to be part of that. And, I'm certainly very, very fortunate, very blessed that I was.
last question. What would it be like? You see what coaches are having to do now with Zoom meetings, virtual meetings, whatever you want to call them. And they seem to maybe change the way perhaps in the future that a lot of coaches can spend more time at home, because it used to be that, the old, you had to put a cot in the room or whatever. That doesn't mean that they're frothing at the mouth to get to practice. But your thoughts about how coaches have handled this current time?
Well, the key, and you alluded to it, is all of the technology that's there now. Of course, when I was coaching, we had nothing like that. Because of the technology, I'm sure, I'm not involved, obviously, but I'm sure that, all the coaches have, they've stayed in contact with their players. They've been able to have meetings and do the things that they need to do in order to be prepared. And again, technology is changing the way, that we do everything. And I'm sure it'll continue to change the way that, that coaches do things as well.
Chuck, thank you. Good luck with all the restaurants. Sounds like it's delicious. Thanks for your time, and be careful. We'll talk with you hopefully again down the road.
All right, sounds great. Thank you guys very much.
Chuck Reedy, former Baylor head coach, longtime assistant with Clemson, South Carolina, was a head coach also under Grant Taft as well. Larry Fedora looks up to him, and that's one of the early coaches. He was a part of Grant Taft's staff, but he could not say enough about the early years of his career when he actually became a full-time assistant. And he did say that, he had like 30,000, I guess it was 28, and you need to go prove recruit. And he went down and got some guy in Port Arthur. And then from that point on, look where Larry Fedora has been, where he is now, and Chris Lancaster, who's now at, Academy?
Yeah, isn't that where he is? We had him on the show.
No. That's not right. Exactly. I just sent him a note. I said, so I heard you could be a great source for some young coaching stories. We're live right now with Chuck Reedy. Unfortunately, they would lock us both up. That's from Chris Lancaster, of course, who was voted to be coach.
Yeah, he named head coach 2 months ago.
At Academy High School. When we come back, 3:52, wrapping up this 3 o'clock hour. Brought to you by Waco Custom Marketplace. 4 o'clock hour, Max Olson. Also today, Mickey Spagnola. And in between that, Ryan Ivey, the AD at Stephen F. Austin. At 5 o'clock today, E. Gordon Gee, the president at West Virginia. All right, so here's, Craig, you gave me this. ESPN is going to do a 9-part series on the career for Tom Brady.
Yep. They just finished The Last Dance, so I guess this is their next venture.
I'll watch it. I'll be all about it. That'll be interesting. It is interesting to me. I thought at first, well, this is so immediate. It's been 22 years since the Bulls thing, and then it's been 20 years almost since Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. So, about the same timeline. Michael Jordan was just coming back for the Wizards when Tom Brady was playing for, at the beginning of his career.
Still, yeah.
I'm all fascinated by Tom Brady.
Well, there's a lot of things there. One is that we all know how many times so many people passed him by. So he's a 6th round pick. He's the tall, skinny guy. You see the picture at the combine, right? No didn't look like he had any muscular type tone at all. He goes on to win more Super Bowls than any quarterback in history.
He's played in 9 of them.
Thrown for billions of yards. There's, the personal part. He's married to a model. There would be a part about, the relationship that he has with Belichick.
Mm-hmm. And look, it's only going to be good.
And just the drive of him being his hardest working guy on the team, like Aikman was with the Cowboys, like Jordan was with the Bulls, and like Tiger is in golf.
But it's only going to be good if there is the kind of participation from the people around him, like Jordan. Like everybody who played on those teams has to be in this thing and coach and all that stuff.
Well, you can't have Aaron Hernandez in it, obviously, because he has passed. So that was, a big part of, some of the documentaries we've seen the last year or so. You had the Aaron Hernandez documentary, you had The Last Dance. Those have really kind of riled up the sports world. So, I'm sure that would be an area that they probably don't cover. This is going to be, and I don't know how many of the Patriots are going to want to, still, I guess, go on record about Tom Brady somewhere else. I'm not really sure. So there's going to be some things, obviously, that can't be a part of this, or that won't likely be a part of this. But, I mean, it says in the description that it's going to be all about the great moments in his career, the championships, the big games that he won, all the struggles that he went through, the start, like you said, with being a draft pick that nobody really cared about and didn't get drafted until late, and little did we know at the time that he was going to be the greatest quarterback ever. But, he's got more than enough in just the course of his career, much less life off the field, to be able to carry a documentary. But this will be 9 episodes. It's going to be an ESPN, Disney, and religious sports partnership. So I guess religious sports is something that he is involved with, and it's going to define key moments and challenges that were seemingly insurmountable, but through hard work and perseverance became career-defining triumphs in both victory and defeat. So, not so sure how much pull the curtain back on his time in New England, but we will obviously a lot of the better moments there.
Yeah, I look forward to that, but it's as good as will allow you in, and also those around him who have played with him or know him, not just players or teammates, but others, and how much they're going to also delve into it. It doesn't just need to be a feel-good thing. This is one of those where you want to see him after the losses, I guess, to the Giants. Not just those aren't the only ones, but the losses to the Giants and how devastated they had to have been.
Well, and there's only a few athletes you could reasonably do this about. Brady, I mean, obviously Jordan's already done one. Tiger Woods would be a great one. I don't think that will ever happen because I don't think Tiger is ready to open that door. See,
well, because unlike Jordan, his biggest embarrassment was very public. Jordan's embarrassments are all pretty much behind closed doors, and we'll never know about them.
Yeah. So
Tiger would have to have an entire half hour dedicated to getting a golf club, smashing his car and on himself, and that whole ordeal and the subsequent fallout from it and all of that, which has a little bit. But if you go back and you look at his life, you have to cover that. That's obviously something you have to talk about.
Well, that's the story of Tiger. Is Tiger being the most dominant
and the comeback,
most dominant athlete in the world in his own game, and then being off the map completely because of his personal life and injuries, and coming back and winning. So that's the story. I just don't know, and I don't think Tiger's ever going to be the kind of person, even 20 years from now, that's going to say, you know what, I'm going to tell people about my life.
Yeah, I don't, man. That's got to be a tough thing to do. I think we saw how tough it was for Jordan to do that because he's not somebody that opens up a lot, and quite frankly, I wouldn't want to rehash a lot of that stuff if I was Tiger Woods or if I was Michael Jordan.
Do you want your kids to hear it either? I mean, let's just...
Enough's been written, enough's been said, enough's been speculated, even if it's true and some of it not. You're starting to see some of the blowback from the documentary series on ESPN.
Pippin's pissed, apparently.
Horace Grant was someone that Jordan basically, I guess, a part of the documentary. I remember this. They all thought that, or he thought that Horace Grant was the one that helped leak the information about Jordan Rule. That then basically alienated him. But then you also saw when Jordan was trying to help Grant become tougher, more mentally and physically tough against the Pistons, and the year they finally beat Detroit and broke through. So, yeah, listen, when you're in that position, when you're that good, when you're that dominant, when you're that focused, and you're that driven, you're going to anger people along the way. There are going to be times, and so I would think that the Braves probably have a few of those as well. But
I think his will be a lot more feel good than the others that we've seen.
Now, coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Max Olson, SFA AD, Ryan Ivey, on what in the hell's going on in Nacogdoches, and then Mickey Spagnola and West Virginia President E. Gordon Gee today at 5. This is SicEm365 Radio.
In great times or tough times, you Feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Their easy-to-access drive-through open and convenient and clean in-store location, corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, or orthopedic spine care,